In this video I'm going to be talking about the slipper clutch and locking it or getting a complete lockout. So here, these are actually my fastest 2 laps with just a regular slipper clutch, just your average. So one of them is going to be 20.7, which was actually my fastest. I never repeated anything in the 20, and then the next fastest was 21.2, and I did get a few 21s, but I'm going to read some numbers off real quick. So 21.6, 22.2, 22.2, 22.6, 22.6, 22.9. So most of my times are around that range. I do have a few 21s, 21.7, 21.9, 21.7, but locking the slipper, now you can get a slipper lockout. Here I actually got some pretty good times. So yes, I did get a 20.7 on the other one. I did get a bunch of 21s. Most of my times were generally in the 22s, high 21s to 22s, somewhere in that range with a regular slipper. Now this was a horrible lap, 21.8, but I still kept it, so you can see consistency is key, really. Now, at one point I'm going to have to swap out the transponders because it's going to stop working, but it's actually the same run. So a few little mistakes. You're going to see how they're going to clean out. But this lap is going to be a 21.1. So slipper clutches are great if you are bashing to conserve your shafts, if you have plastic shafts, for example, like on a Traxxas Slash, or just your transmission components, say your gears are plastic, etc. But if you're racing, you really don't want a slipper clutch. You really want to lock it completely or get an actual lockout. And the reason why is the slipper clutch is there to take some of the force, some of the impact. This is a 21.1. But sometimes it can become inconsistent. Sometimes the nut can actually back out. Because you cannot control how it slips. The amount of slippage is going to depend on, well, how tight you set it, but also on the heat. And every time it slips, it creates heat. So it becomes inconsistent. So by locking it, you get more consistent. Notice 20.9. I still have not beat that 20.7, but it's not really going to matter because I only got that 20.7 once, and I seriously thought it was a fluke, a complete and utter fluke. I thought the system had failed. But it did not. It was true. Everything was working. But this is here with it locked, 21.3. And so the thing with it, even driving it, it's more consistent without a slipper clutch or when it's locked. And the reason why is because power is direct. So whatever power input, notice that crash. See how I've crashed a few times? That 20.7, the other 21, those were pretty clean laps. This was a 21.6. Even with those crashes. That's why I kept these. So on the second part, I'm actually keeping some of the bad laps just to show you, and most of it is this, so I can show you more laps. By locking out the slipper or getting a lockout, the power is going to be direct in terms of going through the gearbox, 20.6. Now that lap was now faster than that 20.7. So it's direct to the wheels, to the drivetrain, to the wheels, because you don't have that slippage. Every time that it slips, you're losing some of that acceleration consistency. This is going to be a 20.9 for the laps. So notice now I'm actually in the 20s, 20.6, 20.9, which the other one, like I mentioned, I only got once. And in racing, consistency is key. If I were just out bashing, I wouldn't notice the difference. You don't notice the difference without the clock. The clock notices the difference. 20.1. So those are one of the big deals, or big differences. So any vehicle that you're planning on tracking, there will be more wear and tear on your drivetrain components. So for example, team associated, the internal gears tend to be plastic. You may notice a little more wear on your idler gear, 20.2. So that's something that you're just going to have to listen to and know that you're going to have to replace them. You can replace them for the metal gears. Just keep in mind that they're heavier, which means more rotating inertia, so it's going to slow you down. Will you notice it? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure if you noticed the mistakes on this lap right here, but it's a 21.1. So notice how all of my times are lower. And if you watch some of my other videos, I have another video, the same track, same layout. These are my fastest times, even with mistakes. These 21s are my slow laps, 21.5, and I crashed at that table. So the main point isn't necessarily is it faster, is it not. You're going to be faster because you're going to be more consistent, because the power is going to come in more consistently. Even this lap, kind of a dirty lap, not the cleanest thing, it's still a 21.3. So that would be the advantage. If you are planning on racing or doing something where minute little details in driving will matter, just eliminate it or lock it out. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you have not. I hope this was useful or at least entertaining. And 20.6, I'll catch you in the next one.
What? Oh, my hair! My tongue! My rod!